Aaron Rezzo doing his thing. Make sure you check him out on Spotify. That song's called Gasoline. Thank you so much to Aaron for letting us use his track on the show. One of the only podcasts around that uses official music from an official artist without having to pay for it. So thanks, Aaron. Welcome to the Chris Konya Show. Just right now, as I'm recording this, the Democratic debate is happening. It's happening on ABC. It's happening right behind me. And I was going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. I was going to talk about vaping. I was going to talk about something random like vacations or weddings or something. But why not talk about what's happening right this very second, which is the Democratic debate on ABC. And I have one friend who I know is very involved in politics. He's been involved in campaigns. He's volunteered for certain candidates. And right now he's out of state. His name is Ryan Dooling and is with me right now. What's up, Ryan? How's it going?
I'm actually at a concert in South Carolina right now.
You're at a concert in South Carolina. And are you following along the debate on Twitter?
Just like looking at random updates.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't know that much about politics. I could barely have a conversation. I could obviously have a conversation, talking about issues and opinions and stuff like that, but
sure.
Ins and outs of politics. I would think that something like this debate would be almost like a big event for someone who's as involved in politics as you are.
Correct.
So, did you have any expectations coming into watching this?
So, expectations were getting all of the main Democratic candidates on stage. I would assume, obviously, all of them to bring their A game and try to differentiate from each other. Because with a field this wide, with a field this diverse, in terms of just general perspective, general kind of levels of policy ranging from moderate to more liberal and like a Bernie or a Elizabeth Warren, a little bit more borderline on like democratic socialists, I would expect them to kind of try to stand out from one another. And I expect them to try to bring something home to like someone like me or someone who's kind of a part of this, not a part of the system, so to speak, but someone who understands how this works. I would expect them to try to diversify from like appealing to someone like me to appealing to the masses. So there's nothing specific that I would expect, but what I would expect is them to try to become a standout and kind of launch an individual platform that would resonate across the board to bring people back into the fold.
What's interesting is that I'm a casual, I'm watching it casually, not knowing, besides the gigantic names, I'm not really knowing, going into it. I don't really know who's who and who stands for what. And I'm very, very casual, borderline ignorant when it comes to the people that are debating tonight. And I'm talking to you who's so into it that if you weren't doing whatever you're doing tonight, you would probably be glued to the TV, dissecting every other word. So it's really funny to talk to you. Watching a couple minutes of it, while you haven't watched any of it, you've only been following along on social media.
Right.
It seems there's a big, and I don't want to get you all riled up because you're doing anything but politics right now, which maybe for a person like you who's so involved, I can't imagine it's a stress-free habit or lifestyle or whatever you want to call it. Did you expect a lot of mention of the current president, of Trump, during this debate? Do you think that when he is mentioned, it's almost like a buffer period or some kind of way to stall or deflect from a certain question? How do you feel about the Democrats during this debate mentioning Trump as much as they do? And again, you don't know anything about the amount that he's been mentioned.
Right.
But just going into this, what are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a positive and there's a negative to that because number one, the goal across the board is to kind of distance themselves. I think actually somebody and this isn't about tonight, obviously, because I don't know exactly what they're talking about other than, like you mentioned, social media mentions. But someone who is, I feel like he's well known, but he's not trending and polling very well, like Pete Buttigieg, who is an interesting candidate for many reasons. But, he has said, I'm not going to make a habit of calling out the president, He goes, we need to just do more than be the party of no or the party of anti-Trump. So I think that the overall message of going after him and mentioning him as much as they probably are, as you're kind of indicating, it can be good and it can be bad. The thing is that it's not going to, if someone is a Trump supporter or Trump sympathetic and they're kind of on the fence, they're not going to be pulled back into the Democratic fold just by lashing out at the president. So it's kind of a catch-22
Sure.
in the sense that you can go after him all you want, but are you really going to pull more people in? Are you really going to regain any respect from, the disenfranchised voter who might have voted for Trump or might not have, but might kind of just think that it's a good way to go? I don't think that just being totally viscerally anti-Trump is going to help any of the Democrats. I understand why they're there, but if you're really anti-Trump, you're already anti-Trump. Nothing that this man does on a daily basis is going to, be emboldened by Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg or any of our candidates just by calling him out. They're already angry, so I don't think they need to focus on it. I think what they really need to be doing is separating themselves from not only that just visceral anti-Trump rhetoric, but also from the people that they're standing next to and competing against. So if they really want to stand out, they have to do more than just say, I'm against President Trump.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. In two parts / two versions. Okay. If you're going into this as a nobody, right? Nobody really knows you. You're not Biden. You're not Bernie. Not any of the top half of people that are on this stage. What are you really focusing on? How are you getting those people? Because again, you're not going to go and get the Trump diehards or the Republican diehards, however you want to phrase it. You're not going to get them, right? How are you going to get the people that are on the fence, getting towards the fence, stuff like that, as a nobody? And I'm going to come back to this and ask you how you're going to get them as a fan favorite, as somebody who's well known, like a Bernie or a Biden. But let's start with the nobody approach first.
Okay, so how I think, and it's interesting that you're saying this, because a lot of people ask me this as someone who has an interest and has been a part of the process. People ask me all the time, like, who's your candidate? I'm like, well, I know who the top, the top people are, and I know who's interesting. I was like, I'm not going to tell you because I don't know. And the thing that I find interesting is someone like a guy that no one really ever heard of, a guy named Andrew Yang. He's an entrepreneur. He's an Asian American. He is not someone who's been involved in politics, much like Donald Trump was before. But he also, unlike Donald Trump, he is someone that didn't engage in I'll call it like sweeping conversations. Because, when President Obama was in office, Donald Trump made no bones about creating the birther thing, right? Like he had his opinion. Mm-hmm. He expressed them. That kind of was his entrance into politics was his widespread criticisms that became a part of the national conversation and the national fabric, which, then became part of the people who became his supporters. And this guy, Andrew Yang, interesting guy. Obviously, he looks different and has a different background than a lot of people who have run for president on either side. But he has this idea about essentially creating a universal, not so much a universal basic income, but basically saying every adult American, through the means of large technological companies who have taken jobs from people or have used automation, which is something that's just going to happen, and it's not the fault of anybody other than advancement. He's saying, hey, these companies should be paying back to the American public, and was talking about paying the United States adult population $1,000 a month as a freedom tax initiative. Something like that is something that's going to make people listen and make people whether it's going to work or not. It's quite a sensational idea, and if he is basically creates this landscape to discuss those issues, I'll come back in. Then he can have somebody else pay attention to his ideas. That's not going to happen if you're just towing the Democratic Party line, or how the party line's been in the past with President Obama, with Vice President Biden. If you're coming up with something that's going to create conversation and it's going to get attention of the media, that's going to be a great way for a lesser-known candidate or a fringe candidate to come out and really stand out against some of their opponents.
All right, and now I know you probably have to go. I hear some people in the background, but if
you're good.
If you're somebody who's well known, are you walking on eggshells, just saying kind of like the bullet points, not going too deep into detail, or are you trying to really gain a little bit of a lead here by saying something quote unquote outrageous or brave or whatever?
So I'm glad actually you asked that, because I had a difference of opinion on this when Hillary Clinton was running and when President Obama was running. President Obama needed to pick a candidate as a running mate who was not going to screw up and was going to be beloved. Like Joe Biden. Joe Biden as a front runner now has a different kind of position. He has a lot of gas. He says things that are questioned, and we're back to kind of a media situation like we were in the late 20s and the early 30s with sensationalism and yellow journalism, where the biggest story is the most outrageous story, and because that's what sells headlines.
Mm-hmm.
So as a front runner, the big names, you got the old guard, but also the independent kind of old guard. Bernie, Biden, Warren. They're I think for them, obviously Joe Biden is still the front runner, and he's taken a lot of heat because of some of the things he says or doesn't say. Being outlandish for someone like him doesn't make a lot of sense. For someone like him, it makes the most sense to have and work with and partner with someone who's up and coming, who can be kind of that bridge between the old Democrats and the young and the new Democrats, and the moderates and the a little bit further to the left, but not so far to the left as someone like Bernie Sanders. So I think it's kind of a catch. You don't want to be outlandish if you're a front runner. Mm-hmm. You don't want to upset the natural order if you're a front runner, but you've got to find a way to still set yourself apart from the rest of the field. It's
all strategy. I mean, it's all strategy. Every sentence, every headline, every blurb, everything. Now, I'll get you out on this one because Bernie Sanders was recently on the Joe Rogan Experience, which is a podcast, which, as far as I know it's on, the iHeartMedia app and stuff like that, but it's not radio. It's not traditional media is what I'm trying to say. If you had to pick, don't give me a political answer. Don't give me best of both worlds. Don't give me it depends. If you had to pick, if you're a candidate, whether you're a front runner or somebody who's not even known by the masses yet, what is most important, the traditional media route and tour, or do you go with the more up and coming media like podcasts, like YouTube channels, stuff like that?
I think if you want to reach the quickest, you go the traditional route. I think if you want to be, but let me chime in on that. But I think that if you want to make a difference, and if you want to actually have gravity and actually go to people who actually pay attention to to the issues and what's changing, you go the podcast, the YouTube channel route, because we can all turn on MSNBC, we can all turn on CNN and Fox. And notice I said those three. I didn't say ABC, CBS, and NBC, which is what we, in general, if we're looking at news, we should be looking at news agencies that don't have a bias. That doesn't happen anymore. We can always access all those things. I think that going to the podcast, going to the YouTube channel, going to the not major entities.
Yeah, the non-traditional stuff.
Exactly, is where the direction is going and where it should be starting to be focused, because you know that you're extending an audience beyond the people and the traditional aspects of the media entities, and I think that's where we all need to be going in general, and I think it's where we will end up going.
Very interesting. Thanks for being the last minute correspondent. I mean, for people who don't know, which is everyone besides me and Ryan right now, Ryan and I just texted him like 3 minutes ago before this whole recording and this show started, and he was happy to, where are you right now, by the way?
So I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, Chris, and while I'm visiting two of my best friends from Rochester, from good old Churchill Chili, and me and my buddy were at a Bare Naked Ladies Hootie and the Blowfish concert. And when you texted me, it was the intermission between the two.
Oh, come on!
And in the past 5 minutes, the Hootie just took the stage.
Okay.
So
well, it's way more important.
No, you're good. We're good.
No.
I'm glad you asked me. I'm glad you asked me to join for at least a momentary, brief time there. So it's great.
No, I appreciate it, and I only want to be with you whenever we talk about politics. Ryan, thank you so much. Enjoy the concert. We'll get you on in person. As we get closer and closer to, the more important debates and of course the elections and stuff like that. Appreciate it, man.
Sounds great, man. Absolutely.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Bye. There goes Ryan Dooling, last minute correspondent. Correspondent, such a big word for this pesky little show. We wanted to get something on that we haven't done in the last couple episodes, and politics is definitely not my forte. So again, that was of course one-sided. So don't get the wrong idea that we're only going to cover stuff like that, because of course we're going to get both sides on. This was a last minute show. Hopefully you go into the weekend, if you're listening to this the day that this came out, either fired up, angry, pissed off, or happy that we're diving into politics and excited to hear Monday's show. But either way, appreciate your time for the last few minutes. Thank you so much for supporting the show so early on while so many people do not. Believe me, and we'll get into that one day. Subscribe, like, share, and tell a friend this weekend that you listen to the Chris Konya Show. Have a good one.